15-year-old me. Foul mouth. And Melissa finally hits rock bottom. All this and more on today's Brilliant Observations.
I love both of those. I love both of those Massachusetts references, foul mouth and rock bottom. So don't they have? Isn't there? Surely there's Falmouth, Massachusetts, and Rock Bottom sounds like
there
it's
is,
very
and
near.
Maine.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very near Plymouth Rock, and then Rock Bottom, and then Rock Lobster, and Bottom Rock.
Very New England. I used to work for the Philip Van Heusen Company at Bass Shoes.
Well, isn't that a mouthful of prep? Yeah.
So while working there, I don't know if any listener has ever worked at a shoe store. Every shoe has its own name. And you need to know everything about it. Bass shoes are all handmade. So all of these shoes were named after towns in New England, mostly Massachusetts, mostly Maine, just all these towns. So Falmouth was absolutely a shoe. So when you said, oh, I love how that's Boston, I'm like, that's kind of Bass shoes, right, but okay.
I gotcha.
I hear you.
I got you.
How are you, Aim?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I had a big breakthrough yesterday, and nobody else thinks of it as a breakthrough. I've got huge piles of mess in my life, and they continue to grow, and I don't ever seem to attack them. And my sister sent me a text. I never return things, right? I just can't. Once I've bought something, I can't ever seem to return it. Even if it means just turn around and walk right back into the store. That moment, can't do it. So she was returning things yesterday, and it got me on a kick. And so I cleaned off 2 areas that previous to yesterday felt insurmountable. And it took me a sum total of an hour and 42 minutes. And you would have thunk it that from looking at these things and how oppressive they were in my life, that the task of cleaning them off was going to take me several months. Like, why for an hour and 2 separate jobs, total hour and 45 minutes. And now I walk in and I'm like, that's what the top of that cabinet looks like. It looks like a cabinet instead of a fucking, disaster scene that wouldn't even make it in a Salvation Army display case. Like, it's just.
Now, was this Marie Kondo thing? Was this more of put things where they belong, or throw things out or donate them?
It was nowhere. I did not even attempt. I thought for a moment. I actually stayed home from an event that we finagled away for me to get to. If you volunteer at my youngest child had a lacrosse event, it was out of state. They actually we had to relocate the lacrosse event because the organizers of the event banned everyone from North Carolina. So we had to switch quick, except for, here's my favorite part about these bands. I'll just tell you. So you've already heard me say we've got kids who come up from Atlanta. We've got kids who come down from across the line in Virginia to play with us because we've got a great league, okay? Great team. So the Philadelphia tournament banned anybody coming from North Carolina and point south. Well, all the kids who've been playing with us for weeks and months who live in Virginia still went.
Oh, shut up.
They live in Virginia. Well, yeah, it's a great fucking tournament, and the tournament went on. So they just went up there. So good job with your band, dopes. I mean, that's part of the reason these bands are kind of like, are you fucking... Yeah, so they've been exposed to all of us for months and playing with us for months.
Right.
Anyway, so we shifted ours to a different play day, a different tournament in Virginia, and they're still doing really smart things. There's no gathering. There's no team tents. There's no nothing. You're not even allowed more than one parent on the field. You get one family member to represent, and that's it, unless you volunteer at the scorer's table or these other places, then you can have 2. So we volunteered. But I was like, nope, I'm staying back. Not going to do that because I'm going to tackle these terrible spaces. So back to Marie Kondo. And so I woke up that morning thinking, I'm going to Marie Kondo my clothing. And that very quickly went to, you're being overly ambitious, because everybody knows that when you Marie Kondo something, you turn your existing chaos into beyond overwhelming, crushing chaos, and then you dig out from that. And it's like, I can't fucking add. So all I'm going to do is squish shit in the drawers further, so at least it's not in view. That was my plan. So it was more about, and everything on top of that desk. I don't have clothing piled on my bureau and on my night table. I have books, I have work papers, I have receipts.
Okay.
I have tchotchkes from She Podcast Live that I want to keep, but I don't have a special cubby to put my silver microphone keychain that I want to keep because that's a wonderful memento. Like that sort of shit.
You got a silver microphone keychain?
Yes, I did.
Where the fuck
and
was
it's
I?
really good too. I don't know.
Damn
I
it.
don't know where I got it. You got to understand. In my real life, I normally go to a lot of trade shows, and everybody has little bits of swag and things on the table. So I've gotten very casually kleptomaniacal, so that when you could have, so when I just sort of walk past a table and I'm talking, making eye contact to somebody, I'm also sliding the stuff that they have on their display table into my swag bag. So I have like 40 t-shirts from that conference.
I have one, and I won
I have
it.
every t-shirt. I even got one from that crazy cat podcast.
Shut
That
up.
ugly t-shirt that nobody wanted. I have one. I almost got two because it was so bad, and I thought to myself, I gotta have it. I just gotta have it as a
my
joke.
God. Hey, don't you complain about your husband having 1,000 t-shirts for everything and every occasion, and here you are with 40?
I do, and he should be complained about. Going to conferences and bringing back. I threw out a lot of that stuff yesterday. So from several of my conferences, I had them stacked there. I had a little planter that one of the South Carolina conference gave us. Oh, no, it was a North Carolina state conference. They gave you a little planter with some seeds and all this other stuff. And here's how we're going to be sustainable. Put that in the trash. Earbuds. Everybody, earbuds for days, trash. Bag tags, trash.
Here's how to stay sustainable. Throw it in the trash
and then
can.
in South Carolina, they gave, because it's, first of all, there's made in NC, so they want to give you all their little bits of agriculture that you can grow, trash. Special seeds and beautiful wildflowers from South Carolina, trash. Most of my purging was sort, place, and trash. I'm not going to, and the other thing is I also, more than t-shirts. He does have a problem with t-shirts, but I have a quadruplet problem with hotel teeny tinies. You've already seen this.
I have.
I must have the hotel teeny tinies.
I've witnessed this.
I love them.
I know you do, but you taught me that what you do is you get a pretty basket and you put it in your guest bathroom. So they have teeny tiny sample sizes from which to choose for shower, for everything. And that way it kind of depletes when you have guests, and it kind of re-ups when
That's
you
right.
have
The
more
problem is I
conferences.
travel, normally I would travel way more than I would have guests to deplete my suite's worth of, So what I've started doing is the nicer ones, the favorite ones, the better, the resortier ones, I swap those out. And then that means that the one that was still, there's nothing wrong with it. It's still pretty nice. I've started throwing them out, and it's very difficult for me to do.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, but I do it. So that's what I was doing.
Yeah, I could see throwing it out. I did tease it. Melissa hits rock bottom, so I'm gonna jump off the ship right here and tell you how this past week I hit rock bottom. You know that I was away for a week, and I took some pictures, and I sent, every year everybody sends out their holiday card, and I'm not going to lie, I love getting holiday cards. The pictures, I watch my friends and their families grow and change, and pets come and go. Like I happen to have extremely creative, hilarious friends. So nobody's just sending a picture, welcome to 2020. Like, I cannot wait to see what this year holds in the holiday pictures for those who send. I also do get the crazy Christmas letters. Like, this one threw up twice this year. We haven't thrown up in 3 years. Like, shut up. I don't need to hear.
My favorite Christmas letters are the families that have just pets. So they want to update you like on all the shit their pets have done. I'm like, kind of not the same, but also
Fluffy's
hilarious.
patella, right? Fluffy's patella floats in and out. We are deciding between CBD treatment and the knife.
We've moved away from our favorite treats to a new kind of treat. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Stop.
that is so
You
crazy.
just stew up your own fucking crack.
You're gonna have to read that one this year on pod. So I I make a card every year, but what my card is it's a magnet. It's a magnet of my family. So I kind of feel like you put it on your refrigerator or some stainless steel accepting magnetic area and you forget about it. You know, you take down the cards every year, but you don't take down a magnet.
No, I love it. I
And
love it every year. I love it.
and it just sits there. So we're with you all year round. That is not unintentional, okay? So every year, new magnets. Some people keep all of them in a row and watch us physically age over the right. Well, picking that magnet and that picture is kind of a challenge because when are we all in the same place and when do we all take a decent picture, especially when you have teens, especially when you have a daughter who says, I hate this one. How come only you look good in this picture? That's why
because
you chose
I'm
it.
paying for the magnet.
I told her she could pick it next year. So this one looks fat. This one, I'm looking the other way. I have 2 teeth that look like they're fangs. Whatever it is, there's always a complaint about it. Fine. So while we were away, I took a couple of pictures that weren't awful. I mean, sometimes you're just facing the wrong way and it looks like you have 7 necks involved in a picture and you're like, oh, that's not flattering. But everybody else looks good. You have to debate, like, what do I do? Well, I sent what I thought was a decent picture to my mother.
I'm going to stop you right there. If you had picked out your your Jewish card picture, your photo to represent your family for the year, it's not decent. I picked out my favorite and best. This is our number. We would always joke about this when we would see professional photos that were horrible. We would think, and this is the best of the bank of 60 they had to pick from. So you picked your fucking best. We don't have 60. This is my A+, Mom.
Well, we didn't sit for a photographer.
Right,
This
but
was
you know
a
what I mean.
random,
Yeah.
candid. So we don't really have a lot from which to choose, nor are we finished. We send them out for the actual new year. So we still have time and we still have summer left. So this is probably not what we're going to use, and I'll tell you why. So I sent it to my mother, who has a very good eye. Like, no matter all the negative things that one could say, and one could say many things, she said, the boys look fantastic, and Mallory looks beautiful. And it got really quiet, and I think I heard some crickets. And I thought, yeah, and she said, I see the weight you gained in quarantine. And you need to lose it.
There's only one thing you need to lose in that relationship.
In that conversation. And it's your conversational partner. Bye-bye, Mom.
Yeah. Wait.
So,
I'm sorry. I know we don't like dead air because this is an audio format. What? Go. You're speaking to your mother, right?
Yeah.
And the woman who carried you in her body, sustained you, created life for you. One would presume loves you, right? And still keeps talking to you throughout your life. She hasn't abandoned you. She hasn't gone off somewhere else. No, she answered your text. So she's going out of her way to communicate with you. And this is what she chooses to say? I think
you're going to have to lose it,
I think
Melissa.
you have to lose weight. Meanwhile, just to give you a visual, dear listener, you are probably the same weight and dimensions of the microphone I'm speaking into right now. This is the stupidest thing anyone has ever said. You have single digits in your clothing tags. Single digits.
I do. But I have to tell you, yeah, she's not wrong, but she's wrong.
She's fucking wrong. No, she's wrong and she's wrong.
No, she's not wrong.
Like
and
she's wrong,
I have
Peloton. She's wrong and
the
she's
way
wrong.
the way I carry weight is kind of like in my neck and face, and that's the first thing you see, and my spare tire. But so she saw it in a picture, and instead of being the human who loves you unconditionally,
is she your
and
fucking
who says,
agent? What are you doing to yourself? She's wrong, and she's also wrong, and she's mean and wrong. She's wrong, mean.
It was tough to hear. I said, "Oh, well, I have started riding a bike. I don't know what
Those
to
are
tell
my hate
you."
pockets, and they're all filled up for you, you terrible person.
Yeah. So I am a parent. I am a mother, and I try my very, very best Well, first of all, I have a child who says things like, I'm fat, and I just literally spit take into her face. Right. So
No.
I laugh into her face. And I try not to be the human that completely damaged me. But it really never ends. I have, through this podcast mostly, come to terms with the fact that it's not me, it's you kind of thing. You know, that it's not me, it's you. You have these issues. I am doing the best I can with what I have. I've spoken to you about, for me, comfort eating those boxes of Archway cookies that bring such joy in a time where so many things don't bring joy. So I'm coping as best I can, and maybe my elastic waist pants are my best friends. But those best friends are coming on a bike with me, and they're going for a ride with me, and I'm doing the best I can. What I really need is what I'm saying. What I really need is encouragement, and not, yeah, you need to lose those
Even
15
there's
pounds.
no way that you're going to get away with any of this. That was absolutely obscene and so fucking rude. It was in no way helpful. It was in no way parenting. It was in no way assistive. If her goal was to encourage you to get to a healthier weight, which is an asshole goal because you're already there. So if that's her goal, even if her motive was health related, which it's not because it can't fucking be, but let's, for the sake of it, okay? She could have said something along the lines, right? This is not your best picture. That's all she needed to say.
Yeah, and I would have understood what that meant.
This is not a good angle.
This
is not a good angle. She's like, I'd still use it, but this is not a good angle, which is just being honest. Maybe a little too honest, still mean, but, or if she was interested in health, she would say something like, I thought you got a Peloton. How's the Peloton working? Did you use it? How's the burger? She doesn't interested in any of that stupid shit.
You know, now that you say that, you have last year's photo somewhere in your house. She did say that about the boys from last year, that it wasn't a flattering angle. My gentlemen were wearing, flannel shirts, and their little nipple heads popped out of this big flannel shirts because they like to wear big clothes.
I'm looking for the magnet in here, but I've got a wood bookshelf and it's all. Yeah, it's not a fucking nipple head.
So she said that's not flattering. So it was easy to say about them that that's not flattering, but it's you need to lose those 15 pounds.
Right, and I think you're overlooking the fact that all those other people in the picture ain't fucking related to her. You the one she fucking made. You're the one she fucking made.
It was crazy.
Right? So let's compliment everybody else except for you. Let me put my thumb right on top of your head and squish you down a little bit. Is that
it's
it?
Crazy.
What? Why?
It's crazy. I don't think that way. I can't tell you why, but I did tell you that day I did 3 rides on the Peloton.
Stop it.
And then I said, fuck you. And then I said, why I see you as a tiny human being who is suffering with her own issues now. Why am I letting this happen to me? And I'm not. But it did definitely affect me, that rock by that day. That was the 3 workout day.
But
and I'm over it.
It's so strange because clearly she has eyes. She can see you. So this made up lens that she's put in between the reality of who you are and what she's looking through, I don't get it. And
don't we all use a lens?
We do, but at the same time, help me, because I don't spend any time with your mother. Help me understand. Does she use this lens for other people and other things? Is she because that would be easier to take if she was uniformly batshitty with other things and people.
Let me tell you.
Then it wouldn't feel so targeted.
My parents are aging, and my father's losing his hearing, and they both have a small tumor inside their heads. Let's say that at first. My father's brain grape is buried and hasn't had that much of an effect.
Very, not jokey, very upsetting. Agree.
Right. So brain grape, and then the other one, my mother's losing her hearing. So my father's losing his memory as well. So her response is not, here, let me write this down so it's here for you when you forget. Here it is as a reminder. Here's a sticky pad. Here are notes all over the house. Nothing like that. It's, I asked you to do this. Do it now because you're just going to fucking forget, and you're not going to, like, she flips a switch and it becomes rage. And I'm just trying to talk her through that as she tells me I need to lose 15. By the way, it's 13 pounds. It's not 15. It's 13.
According to the hate number that she's got a tally, the hate index, where's the 13, 15 over under coming from? Just trying to keep track. Yeah. Do you hear how fucking stupid you are? You can take a 13-pound shit and be done with all of this. And I got the meal to do it. I'm just telling you, it's not that hard.
Feed me, Seymour. So she's screaming at him, and then I'm like, Mom, this isn't really gonna get better. So if you're this angry right now, and he's just gonna forget more and hear less, and you should think of something you could do to make this a more livable situation for you, because you sound like you're at the end of your rope right
Here's
now.
Here's a thought, Mom. Why don't you model your behavior on any other living human and the way that we engage with each other? Instead of the fucking...
Or animal.
In fact, instead of the fucking, death-eating predator style that you seem to think is, hey, okay. What the I don't even, God bless America.
It's tough. So I'm trying. So I talked to my father later in the week. I think I butt FaceTimed him and I hung up really fast. So he called me back a few hours later and he's sitting like a wall away from her. And I said, yo, I hear you're kind of not hearing things and forgetting things. And he says out loud, fuck it. Your mother's an asshole.
There's your Christmas card. There's your Christmas card, honey. And do you have like a shot from underneath the chin photograph that you could do that also gets nose hairs and gray roots? Can you find this, please? I will fucking pay for that magnet. Can we not? Can we not?
So I
Fuck
thought,
it.
all right,
I'm sorry.
you got
That's
this.
from the man who said, forsaking all others, I'm going to hitch my shit to this bitch till I'm dead. And he says, your mother's an asshole.
That was what he said. Said.
Oh, honey.
So I was like, well, it sounds like you got this, Dad. It sounds like you're all right and you got this. So good luck with that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I might have mentioned to
my therapist,
to my son, to my husband in front of my son, and my father about this, and his comment was, your mom's an asshole. And my son, and my brother, I might have mentioned it to him too. I'm like, your mom is on fire right now. If you can avoid a phone call. And he goes, she said what? I'm calling her right now. And I'm like, no, I don't want anybody doing an intervention for me. I sought therapy for this 100 years ago. I got this. Like, I know where I fit and what she tells people is very different than what she tells me, and I know that because my story worth this week is, who do you admire to her?
How long was the essay about herself?
It was only a paragraph, and it was about her grandmother and how she admires me.
Yeah, nope, that's a lie.
So I don't get it. So I'm going to choose to believe the lose weight is the lie, and that she does admire me. I'm going to choose to live and then my son said, in another room, she said, what? Give me her number. I'm calling her now. So I have two men in my life, my brother and my son, who want desperately to fight a war for me that I don't want them to fight. Again, it was a mental check-in of, you know who you are and what's going on with your body. Number one, do some work. Don't do some work. It's your choice. It's your body. And number two, she's screaming at her husband. I'm
not defending her in any way. Photographs are hard. The one photograph to represent a year of your life is a silly game that we play anyway. It's not always easy. It's never easy to get, 4 people to have the perfect flattering shot, to get a perfect shot. It's fair to expect someone to give you honest feedback. None of that invites the meanness and the off-topic insult that this response was. She is 1,000,000,000% wrong, factually, emotionally, parentally, and every other lead that you can come up with. She is just wrongity wrong. And I would not even send her a fucking card. I would not. I would send her a card that says, your husband says you're an asshole, and a little heart, with a menorah on it. Happy lights, you crazy jerk. You hear that? Yeah.
They're only here for a few more years. Like, if I could bide my time with a dog who circles the island twice before he goes out and attacks the other male dog in the house, then I can bide my time here.
I agree, but this is different. This is different. There is no extenuating circumstance. There's usually another side that can be explained. She didn't understand. She was just this or that. I could see why. There is no see why. There is no human equivalent of look at a photograph of a person and rip it to shreds. That's not, wouldn't even be cool for her to, in a public forum, do that to a celebrity. So I'm really upset about this, and I'm glad that you're upset about it. But I also agree with you. Nobody can say anything to her about it because not even knowing anything about her, my suspicion is she would turn any resulting fallout into all about me.
She's the victim.
Yeah, and
right.
the answer is no. There is no spank that's coming her way, except for the fucking, end of life discussion that's coming with her health condition, which I can't even believe I fucking said it. It's just the reality. We're all gonna be mortals. What a peppy little podcast we have.
Yeah. Do you want to include our listeners in our podcast? Because it's getting a little sad, and poor Melissa, who's not a right.
No.
I'm
It's
fine,
not poor
dear
Melissa.
listener.
It's that bitch Melissa's mom. That's not poor Melissa. That's what's put there's no pity on you. There's anger toward her. To me, those are different things. Nobody pities you. We're in solidarity in the fight that we're not in.
Okay.
We're not in.
I don't want pity. Good. Along with your solidarity on that, dear listener, I'd like to propose, and Amy, you can squish this right here, right now. We don't talk off air because we try to save it all for you. Tell me if you are interested in, so my kids are home from camp, and my favorite nighttime activity at camp was a sing down. And as a human who can't sing, when you're singing in a group, it's much more palpable. Like, you could absolutely take singing in a group.
I don't know what a sing down is, so yeah.
A sing down is I give listener or you or each group a topic or a word, and you list as many songs as you possibly can that has that word in it.
So you don't actually sing?
Well, if you're in person, you do sing it. Like, you say, like, let's say the word is no, and you list 55 songs in the limited amount of time that have the word no in it. And they go around to you and they say, and you name the song, and they're like, what song? Your group has to sing it for them. So totally fun evening activity. I want to know if you're interested, dear listener, dear Amy, dear all, in picking a topic or picking a word or picking a phrase and having people, listeners, put it on our page.
Yeah, I think that's great. Why isn't that great?
Just
That's
to
great.
Involve us with you and you with us.
Let's do a weekly sing down to start. So we'll do that, yeah.
So by the end of the show, we'll tell you the topic we choose, the word or topic we choose, and if you can, on our Brillab Squad, right? That's the one we're using instead of BO.
Yep.
Brillab Squad, put your song. We are going to pick the best song each week and give you an awesome mention. If you are mentioned several times and we're impressed by how hard you're working, you can check your mailbox.
Ooh, but
Yeah,
you have to
I'm
tell
good
us
like
where
that.
you fucking live, because we're not magicians. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll message you privately if you reach that status where you're participating and you're part of the show, then you deserve to walk around with a sticker on your laptop that says Brilliant Observations Podcast. So yeah. So I'm here for you.
I love it. I want
So
some more
we're
of it.
including you. You are part of the show. Last week I teased with, what would you tell your 15-year-old self, 25-year-old self, 35-year-old self, God help us, 45-year-old self?
Yeah, and evidently we went the wrong direction with what your mother would tell your current self.
Yeah. As I thought about it more and more, I really had the same answer for myself each time, which was, yeah, you could do it. Well, at one point, my 15-year-old self, if you're okay with me starting, I would tell her, say no more often.
I want to unpack
tell
that
her-
a little bit, because I didn't know you at 15, and I really sort of only barely knew you at 22, 3, 1, whatever, hike, and since then, right? You paint a sort of a picture of open-leggedness that I'm not sure is accurate.
Just openness.
Is it
openness.
accurate? That was not my experience. It's no judgment. I'm just saying it's very foreign to me, because I was completely submerged underwater for my entire teen life. So tell me what you know. Let's break that down a little bit. Are you is this ha ha ha, we're having podcast, shorthand, and ha ha ha, I was a free spirit, or is it I was free and open to the public? Like, help me understand what we're talking about.
I will. It was kind of both. I know you're going to find it hard to believe that I was raised by somebody who didn't build up my self-esteem. So it's possible that I sought it in other people.
Sure.
And any way I could get that, it was yes, 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 yes. So that's the at 15 say no more as opposed to at 25,
Hey,
35
disease-free,
say
buttoned up,
yes
nice and
more.
safe. It's go with God. Yep.
Well played. But for the love of God and luck. But yeah, the 25, 35 say yes more. But 15 was definitely say no more.
And then what has it changed? Or are you still on the say yes plan? I mean, it was say no when you were 15, but it sounds like it switched to say yes and then say yes more
Yeah,
often.
I've become much more careful. I don't need other people for that. I think once I had kids, everything seemed to be a little bit more dangerous, and I chose not to engage as much. I'm going to blame my kids. I blame them for everything else, so I might as well throw this in there.
And I don't think it's the kids. I think it's the shift in responsibilities as a parent, and I think you should blame it because all of us reevaluate everything, and part of the reevaluation that is not in our control is the safety calculus, right? You sit there, and when you're magically, I can remember down to the moment riding in a car, many times riding in a car where several of us in the car said, we're going to die. Like we knew that death was imminent based on what the car was doing and escaped it. And the one time that it wasn't about death, I was in New York. I was there for like a drug-fueled weekend. I was with a whole bunch of people, and it just the way that those weekends always would go, I found myself in a car with going to meet the friend of the group of friends I was there to visit. It ended up that I was in a car with magically everybody in that car I didn't know, and we were going to a club that didn't have a name, that I didn't know what it was. And this is really kind of before cell phones at all. So I'm in a car with friends of friends whose I barely know first names, probably couldn't even list their first names. They are driving. We're in New York City going to a club that doesn't have a name because it's like a hidden club where you have to know the name and knock on the door and all the things and blah, blah, blah to meet up with the other friends. And it was just, and everybody had drugs in the car and we were driving. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the stupidest moment in my life to this point. This is really because I could disappear forever and nobody would know. And that was really as fun and carefree as nothing's going to happen. We're all together. We separate temporarily. There was a logic that put me in that situation and a logic that immediately came after it. But in the moment, I had that thought of, kind of would like to go home ever. Not now, just ever. And that translates into, how do I manage getting on this plane? Am I doing all the step? How do I manage whatever the thing is? So that's the calculus that is reasonable, right? And that's the one that race car drivers can't be race car drivers anymore, because part of the calculus in being a fantastic race car driver is you have to decide, I might die in this race today, but that's all right, because I'm going to win it.
Stand on the end of that Titanic with your
at a certain
arms
point
out,
you decide,
right?
it's not okay for me to risk dying today. So anyway, that calculus happens outside of you. It's bigger than you.
I am curious to hear other experiences, like the one you just shared. I mean, I almost started to sweat a little because it was real to me. And it was, I've been in that car.
We've all been in that car. Yeah.
Where the street lights are going by so quickly and you're like, how did I get here? I mean, on a much lighter, softer level, I was with Crit in a van, coming home from somebody's wedding with all of the employees from the venue, right? So I'm like, I don't know any of you. Right. And if we disappeared, I mean, people would know, like you said, nobody would know. Everybody would know. They would have no idea how to find you. And yes, there are decisions that all made sense to get you there. Oh, well, this one knows where he's going, and there's room.
I'll just ride with you. Bye. And where are we going? I don't remember, and I don't know.
But somebody driving does. And did they take ecstasy before coming on this ride?
It was hash, but yeah, still. No, should you really be driving us?
Right. Nobody said that, huh?
Including me.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
There are some terrifying activities of that we've been through, and thank God we made it where we are. Maybe that's why we get so crazy about our kids. But I would also tell my 25-year-old self, don't listen to your mother. do what you want to do,
Oh, I love
because
that.
because you know better, because you're the one who's going, she's not going to be here forever to torture you, although it does feel like she will. I think you know better. Make your own choices. You're not living her life, you're living yours. When she tells you don't be a teacher, when she tells you, yeah, you're good at sign language, but I mean, what kind of job could you get with that? Are you fucking kidding me? Just because they don't know everything. Your parents don't know everything. You might have a line into something that they don't know. And if my children are listening, your parents know everything. Um, don't listen to that last.
Well, I think it's really engaging to hear you understanding that she had and has such a direct pipeline into your nervous system, that everything that that she says to you is like an electrical impulse, and so you have to respond to it whether you want to or not. I love and hate that acknowledgement, and to be able to look back at a younger self. What I'm craving is what I wish, and I don't think it's happened. I don't know if it's possible or reasonable, but what I'm craving in this strange relationship with this person who clearly has trouble expressing her deep love and support and admiration for you, because it's there. I know it's there. She wouldn't still be in your life. She wouldn't be doing these things just to glorify herself. And would be saying the things that she says about you that are accurate and correct. I agree with wholeheartedly, and it's easy to see how she gets there. It's the batshitty stuff that is coming from some other place. So what I'm craving in this 15-year-old recommendation is, right, you're sadly, your mother has a broken valve, right, where a bunch of hate comes out that doesn't have anything to do with you, right? It's like saying she's got a grape-sized tumor in her head, and that's where all the negative Melissa talk comes from, because it's this tumor talking. It's not her. She loves you, and you have been loved and will always be loved by your mommy who loves you. And unfortunately, she has this condition where assholism comes out of her mouth, and it has to just be put aside, no differently than if she had fucking Tourette's. I wish it was that reasonable and not emotionally connected. I already know none of that works, but that's what I would hope, that there was some part of you that could say, I'm going to take all of your bitchisms and put those in a bucket and light it on fire, and you can go stand around that fire. I'm not going to be over there.
No, you take that bucket bedside when they're like 2 minutes from death, and you start reading them. You start reading.
So you're going to Jane Eyre her ass. I love it. I can't have an easy death now.
What about you? What would you tell your 15-year-old self?
Well, I tell you, I thought about this a great deal because I don't like this topic. I don't like these conversations. I don't like doing it. So I thought, all right, here we go. Here's the homework. Let's figure it out. And the reality is, because it's big and bumpy and, so much for me. Even the one with timing, I said this a couple of shows ago. It comes out that I go to the negative one first, and I don't accept it. I don't stay there because I can't do that. I don't want to be this negative thing. So I look for the positive one, look for the upbeat one, the 15-year-old advice that would be uplifting. And the only thing that I keep coming back to is what I would tell even myself from 10 minutes ago and then not listen to. What I wish I had absorbed and agreed to when I was young was embrace poverty longer. That's truthfully, that's the root of all of my life choices. If I had simply said, and I've known this for my whole life, if I had simply gotten very comfortable with the idea that how much I make, how much I have, is in no way connected to what I do, what I create, what I'm here for, and what I'm good at, if I had put that to the side, the actual odd truth is that I would be more well-known, successful, and financially prosperous than Oprah. This is a fucking proven fact. I have pushed away more direct opportunities for singing, for novels. I've had people come and record with me in the studio. I wouldn't go. I've had people say, I want to introduce you to my agent. I wouldn't talk to that person. Push it away, as far as I can possibly do it, so that I could preserve this other safety nut and net, because it was based on 16 other, I was playing some kind of a weird game in my head where I had magically stacked up 14 acorns in a triangle, and if I misplaced the 15th one, it would all crumble. So instead of just, and it's easy for me to know with certainty that this is the case. And I'm not saying I do quite well. I do fine. We do well. I still make choices today based on, and I would like to continue doing well. So I don't go do the thing that would risk or diminish, which that's fucking shitty.
So it's the same advice you'd still continue to give
I
yourself
would, and
now.
here's the reason that I know it. A friend from, I think grade school, but I always forget, definitely high school, and then we went to different colleges, but kind of stayed in touch during college. She's gone on to be famous writer, and she's a professor and all the rest of it, but she's written something like more than 20 books, New York Times, whatever. She's a big deal. So, and she is from the same town as I am. So I vividly remember right outside of college that she and her husband consciously decided to live on beans, and they created something called a bed and breakfast for foreigners in their condo. They had a 2-bedroom condo, and they called it a bed and breakfast, or they called it like a boarding house or something like this. And they would feed these sad foreigners. They would feed them like fish sticks and canned food and like the shittiest. It was horrible, but it was because they were having them. They were physically uncomfortable having them pay the rent, and they were eating crap food, living in a too tiny space, doing everything so that they could spend all of their time writing. And that got her to her first, I don't know, half dozen books, or excuse me, her first 6 books, which got her to the professor gig where she hustled her ass off, and that got her the next 13 books. And I mean, it all points back to I was not willing for 5 years
to wallow
to eat
in it.
beans and invite strangers to live in my space. And if I had simply been okay, I would have gone to Broadway like I was advised to do from an acting class. I mean, it's all these fucking things that I was like, no, I'm going to take that high paying right out of college job and I'm going to wear the suit every day because people think I'm hot shit and I'm going to have this excellent title. And I did all these things instead of doing the other things that didn't have the price tag associated with them. But I got to tell you, had a better trajectory. But then.
So you're saying you sacrificed your independent creativity to chase the dollar.
Yes, I can agree with that sentence. But the difference is I had career opportunities that were great and high paying versus promise in a wide range of career paths that were, a performance path, a creator path. Right? A writer path, all these things that I absolutely know I would have excelled at, but they weren't. Of all the choices to pick, you've got irons in the fire, and one of them's hot, and the other 2 aren't yet. So it's, to me, if I had said it, and it's not as easy and simple as saying I'm going to pick the hottest iron in the fire because it makes the most money. I would be a fool to say that I didn't choose this path because it had money, because money comes with that, if you could choose a job where your mom every single day of the rest of your life calls you just to say, God, I was just thinking about you and you're so beautiful and I just think you're so loving and everything about you. I was just thinking about you and I just got this happy moment and I wanted to let you know, go back to your day. I'll talk to you later. And then you get a note later in the mail. I saw this picture. Look how pretty you are. All the things that she hadn't done. If that iron in the fire, if you just grabbed it, instantly all that happened. You can't deny you'd take it, and it wouldn't matter what the other irons were. It wouldn't even matter if they had more. So for me, something about that money trigger was money and a title, and some idea of my pretend legitimacy was right there versus these other things, which frankly I'm a lot fucking better at, but nobody was paying me yet. So I gave up the idea of yet because for the please
now.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, well, I have to tell you, I am also disappointed in you. I did wait for her to take a drink before I told her that. I am also disappointed in you, Amy.
Great. I told you I'm good at
it. And your lack of exploring your talent.
La, 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 la.
So you are not alone in that disappointment too. Mainly because I've heard you sing.
Oh, that wasn't even in there, but okay. Thanks.
And all it takes is hearing you sing to know that you left behind. I didn't realize it was to get that instant, like, nice credibility paycheck. It totally makes sense. But to know the voice that you have that you don't use is, I mean, it's not just buttery on air. Your singing voice is, dear listener, not to be believed. And just because she was in an a cappella group that sang Taking It to the Streets, but instead sang Taking It Up the Ass.
But buttocks.
Does not take away from the fact that her smooth, deep, beautiful, amazing voice is, I mean, it's our loss is what it is. And as much as you got the paycheck and you have a good life, you have 3 amazing kids, your husband hasn't left your side since you're 7, and
Ew.
it's partially mockery.
No, and I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. I take it.
No,
I take it.
I don't really.
No, I take it truly, and I am proud of my talent in that area. And as you described it, it does also occur to me that it wasn't just the paycheck. It wasn't just the credibility. Those were big levers that those were big boxes to tick at the same time. Also, what it was an adoption of a lifestyle and a rejection of a lifestyle. And by that, I mean, I know what it takes to be successful in these industries that are really, really tough, really tough. It takes a level, and I had been a competitive person meaning competing in sports at a high level for a long time. So I know what it takes to get to a place and to stay there and then to continue to advance. And what I saw was to do that with anything, not with my writing. Writing was just fear. With the singing, it meant having an inverted lifestyle, being out at night when my life was during the day. My husband was during the day. Being on the road traveling when my husband was landlocked to a great job. So all of these things was, do you want to push yourself further away, or do you want to start building this other thing that's good? So that was a bigger consideration back in the day, and I don't know that it's any different now, but certainly back in the day, it wasn't a choice between, well, you can do it here in your home studio and you could do it in your own environment and doing live gigs. No, you got to be in a different place. You got to be on the road. It doesn't
with the people.
It doesn't work. And so now you're sleeping. Again, it's more of those cars. That I just described. So yeah, that didn't really feel like a good. More of those cars. And all of that for something that everybody is chasing, because what I also know, and you won't refute this either, I can be more talented. Let's presume that I'm more talented than anyone in the top 40 right now in terms of skill. That's nothing. Skill is just a tiny, tiny variable. You have to have the look, the connections, the desire, the urgency, the show-upness,
the fire,
the luck, the magic, the kismet, the connection with the audience, the catch fire, all of these things that some of them even you can spend an entire lifetime working. There's no formula that makes that work. Versus, I have this difficult situation where I can solve a lot of problems for people in a very quick way that many others that can. So they look at me and they see the solution and they get very excited and they throw a title and a paycheck at me and they say, "Can you solve another problem?" So that's very provocative because I'm not phoning it in. I enjoy solving the problem and I'm proud when I do it in an elegant way and it feels good and there's all of that. So there's a satisfaction there, but it's not like I lie awake in the middle of the night and say, "How can I solve another problem?"
Right.
There are some. I'm a small business owner, and there are small business owners who own their own business because it was their dream to own their own business. I'm a small business owner because that's the way it worked out. I don't care. If I could have all of what I have with my small business and have someone else pay me to do it, and it's no longer a small business, I don't fucking care. So, right. So that's the difference. But anyway, in terms of telling your 15-year-old self, I would say embrace poverty. Get comfortable with eating some beans for a few years before you have kids and see what that's like. Give it a shot. And you might, the entire trajectory might have changed or it might not. It might be like all those movies where no matter how many variables you change, you still end up in the same thing. So, and I don't regret where I am. What I'm telling you, because the truth is, and this is my hard calculus too, if it was that hard for me to give up, I'd still be doing it. And I did have 2 separate professional bands since then, and they did well, and doing them on the side. And I would start them, and then I would let them go because they just weren't that important. And I do art on the side, and I do write on the side. But if it was that important to me, I'd be getting up at 4:00 every day and writing 2 hours every day, or singing every day, or not eating 2 hours worth of bagels every day. All these things.
Well, I will tell you that I am mad that you are not still singing and in my ear. So there's that.
Well, thank you.
Oh, basement disaster.
What are you telling? So, all right. So let's shift gears. So you were telling me something earlier about you had a disaster regarding your basement. I'm not sure I know what this is.
We had the guy come to do the salt and minerals in our water system.
What?
We have a water treatment system, and he comes upstairs and he says, "You got a leak in the basement." We're like, "Come again, sir?" So we have a closet in the basement that was pouring down water in it. What's in that closet, you might want to know? You know that book that your kid first published when they were 4, where somebody else wrote the words and they drew the pictures and had the sentiment? And do you know the pictures or all the things that when your parents moved out of their original house, you don't have this, they give you all of these boxes of pictures and memorabilia?
I sort of have that because my parents haven't moved out of the house that I was born in. And as a result, they continue to say, "Get your shit out of my house." And every time I visit them, there's a new box of crap.
They're going through the purge.
I need to keep living here.
That.
You haven't been here in 30 years.
I love that.
Your shit.
Get your
I'm
shit.
throwing out your 10 speed, right? It's like,
oh, wow.
Don't throw it out, Daddy. It's a Renault. All right. So it's the basement closet of joy is now the basement soggy site of sadness.
Very much so. So what happens? I mean, all the B'nai Mitzvah stuff is in there. All those table centerpieces with the kids' pictures and the whole.
It's filled up with candy.
All that stuff. Well, not anymore. We actually do have candy left over from the B'nai Mitzvah.
Oh, I would make that. I would Marie Kondo that shit.
Okay, well, tell me why the Swedish fish are still soft if it was in 2016 and it's 2020 now.
Did you eat them? Did you try to eat them?
No, but they keep disappearing from that box. Gets lighter and lighter.
When the kids are okay. I mean, it's really just
I don't really care.
Syrup and gelatin.
I wouldn't mind losing that stuff, but no, we lost a lot of things that have sentimental value. I also have all these, floor puzzles and all these big things from when the kids were little that are decent blocks, all this stuff that I'm now going to give to my girlfriend Monica for her 4-year-old soon to be. And that's great. So here was a good purge for that, but also damaged. It's funny that all of this stuff was damaged and really just ruined. And my rock bottom is my mom calling me fat. Anyway, so all of this happens. What got damaged were my scarves and hats, my inventory that I sell. What do I do about that?
How are they damaged? What kind of water was on them? Can't they be dried?
I think they can be dry cleaned. I don't know. I'm going to have to sniff them once.
You're out of your fucking mind. First of all, any of your knit products, you're going to throw those into the utility sink with a cap full of woolite. You're going to give them a swash. You're going to dangle them over the edge of your deck rails for the afternoon. And you're going to sell that shit. None of that's ruined.
All
You're
right,
crazy.
you think that'll be fine?
You're fucking crazy.
Okay.
And I'm already thinking, how damaged were the photographs? Can you not, lay them out in the sun?
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for everything to dry. I mean, I did watch on the paper, my kids' drawings fade right off. They fell right off the paper because it was crayon. It's wax. It fell right off. But anyway, so the walls are out of that closet. The bamboo floor is torn up, and they had to. It was the whole place.
How
the
long
buckling.
had this been leaking? And thank God you had that whack job coming to your house.
Hey, you got a leak, ma'am. Don't call me ma'am, and fix it. So yeah, the plumber, great plumber. He sent his guys out. They fix. We've got fans for 3 days now going in the basement to dry that shit out. Heat and fans. I cannot wait to see the electric bill this month. 24/7. And we're going to probably insurance will pay for hopefully walls and a floor and a ceiling. So we'll take care of that. But everybody who called, estimators, all these people, ma'am, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm like, thanks, but really they're just things. These are things. I'm not going to go crazy about things. I'm knocking on pressed wood that we're all here. We're okay. We're in quarantine together. We haven't killed each other yet. Our lives are here. But yeah, we had a mini disaster. We had a pretty decent sized disaster because we're going to have to re-bamboo everything down there. And then they're going to come and say, well, I'll only replace this much of it. And if they don't have the same floor, you have to redo it's going to be a nightmare. But don't worry, I'm sure Stuart will be at work and make me take all of those phone calls.
I still don't understand. How long was this leak unchecked? Are we talking about this was an hour's worth of damage that it was so destructive, or was this like 3 days? Like, I can't even get my head around it. Because water,
So
an hour's worth of water is a fucking lot of water.
the only way to really guess is to look at the copper pipe with the pinhole in it that was rusted.
So it was
and
a drip, not a gush. Okay.
Right. It was so it must have been a long time, because not only did it drip and get through that closet, it got into the floor, and the guys who put in our floor put plastic down first to keep the water from coming up from the ground. But that plastic made it absorb. Yeah. It kept it on top. So it left our bamboo floating on top of this water. So it was a bad scene. So we will, again, be grateful that we are all healthy and okay. And I only have to shift my seat 4 times for back pain. And everybody is healthy and fine. And we will either not replace these things or just, live without them.
Does some
We'll be all
part
right.
of you, I know the answer is no. Does some part of you also think, well, I wish I still had them, but at least I can let some of these things go? Did you have like 18 or 30 million crayon drawings from each year of school that maybe got gone?
No.
Or had they already been thinned out to the top 30?
I thinned them out.
Yeah, okay, so it is a real loss.
Well, I thinned them out, and smartly, I put some of them in a Tupperware container in the basement, like those big Christmas ornament Tupperware things. Those survived.
The
So
Rubbermaid,
that was pretty good. The Rubbermaids, right. So those survived, and that was pretty
We're
good.
going to have the reverse problem. We don't build, many people do not build basements in the South. Instead, they build attics, right? So it's just the way the soil works. So we have a whole house walk-up attic. So it means it's very easy to get to. You open a door, it's like another staircase. And it's the entire size of the house. You can put shit up there, which we do. So I have Tupperware up there. I also have an individual like those Rubbermaid giant storage boxes on the top shelf of every child's closet. And those have all been busting at the seams. So I just move them up into the attic. The problem that we're going to have is not water, but heat. So everything in the attic, it gets to be
120
more higher than that, even with the fans and everything else. So I guarantee whatever moisture is going to come off that macaronis from 1,000 years ago is going to rot everything in that fucking sealed Tupperware. So there is no, unless you're an archivist preservationist. I mean, honestly, you listen to Howard Stern. Were you listening to the Three Stooges interview?
His archive.
So to catch people up, one of his listeners had done a high school. He called the Three Stooges. He called Mo, who's in a retirement community. When the interviewer was a teenager, he called him and said, and Mo answered, and they talked, and he got it recorded. And he had 2 recordings, and he had just kept them and done nothing with them. So they tried to play them now, as years and years later, and the tape was so frayed they could only get 1 play out of it. But they were like, "We're just going to record it until the thing goes into the never, never, nowhere." So that's what's going to happen with all this stuff. It's nothing gold can stay.
But, thank you, Robert Frost. But I do think we'll never be where our parents are when you go home for the holidays and say, get your fucking shit out of my house. Right now, get your shit out. You're not leaving here without a car full of your old shit.
I don't know. You strike me as a far more engaged mom in terms of what you were keeping track of, all the meetings that you would go to. I play zone defense on that. So that's why I had the Rubbermaid things, because I would say, this is so great, I love it. I would throw it in there, seal it, and never see it again.
Someone taught me a little too late. So, dear listener, if you have small children, God bless you. But besides that, somebody taught me that, they bring something home every day. They bring home another fucking masterpiece every day.
And when you have 3 of them, that's a lot of days.
Oh, you're absolutely fucked. So what you do is you line up the best of the best, and you're going to keep them in your Rubbermaid in the attic or wherever they're going to go to die, but you're going to take a picture of them first. So your pictures will last in some cloud, and you can even print out pictures, put them in my basement, and I can have them ruined for you within no time. You just put them in my closet. And
yeah, I'm in the situation. My brother-in-law is, I guess, bold or really stupid and risky. I don't know how you want to put it. When my father-in-law passed, when my husband and his brother's dad passed, all the stuff, the boxes and boxes of photos, actual photos, he shipped them off to that do-it-for-me service. And all I can think is, you're going to trust the originals of this is the only fucking memory that anyone has to some clown and the postal service? but he did it. And the boxes came back all digitized. So I felt like I'm not willing to do that, but I really crave, because I have photos of everything from the most precious and perfect example of my child right now, and also, is this the can of beans you want in the store? So my photos are a jumbled horseshit mess. There is no storage cloud of memories that also, that has been sampled by year. Like when I'm trying to find that perfect photo, because I know I have 3 of them, I'm also flipping through like this IKEA furniture or that IKEA furniture. It's just, I take pictures, as you know.
Do you ever delete them?
No.
From your phone?
Usually not. I just get a new phone. No, I keep my phone in the other room while we podcast, or I would tell you. But there's the last time I upgraded my phone at the store, I had more than 16,000 photos that they had to port over, and they said this will take a while.
That is a privileged girl problem right there.
No, it's just
phone.
storage laziness. It's just storage laziness. Thus, the piles that need to be addressed.
All right, Amy, are you going to pick a topic for the sing down for our listeners to? Yeah.
You know what? I would love it if you would pick the first one, because I've never done a pick down. See, I can't even say it. And I feel like I would pick a really dumb topic like sauerkraut, and then there would be no songs. So what's a good topic? What are some classics? Let's start with kick us off. Start us off.
So the reason I thought of it is I was in the shower where all the good thinking happens. I had just watched Dirty Dancing again.
Oh my God, this is getting sexual.
Been on nonstop. And I know the soundtrack to that as well as I know every word, as well as I know the dialogue to that movie. It just hit at the right time. I was, 15? And it was just the right time, right movie. So I thought of the word yes. So I thought, are there a lot of songs with it? Because there's a musical cue in Dirty Dancing. Oh, yes. So there's a...
Does it have to be yes, or can it be any derivation? Yeah. Or does it have to be yes?
Well, yeah is in everything. So
yes.
I was thinking about it with that. Then you can pick a color, or rainbow, the word rainbow, or whatever. I was looking for you to be inspired by.
Is the idea supposed to make it difficult, or is the idea to make it, like, help me understand how the game works? It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't, because it becomes more difficult because depending on the age of your listener or the player, they have a group of songs with which they are wildly familiar. So they'd have to branch out of what they know everybody else is. All right,
I want to pick a word. Paper. Paper. My life is consumed with paper. All right, I
want to jump on there right now and start, but I have till Thursday.
Because I was looking around and I see an orange bullhorn, I see a stack of pencils, I see a stuffed puppy dog, and then I see mountains of paper. And I'm like, I'm not doing orange. It's paper.
Paper bag.
You cannot.
All right. But that's like already I'm programmed. I'm like paper. All right, dear listener, this is... And we are open to you giving us in the future, for future weeks, a word or topic that you would like in our forthcoming game.
I think you maybe have seen some simplifications of our social presence, and you'll be seeing more of that in the not so distant but still distant future. The idea is that we just want to have the group on the Brilliant Observations page and blah, skipping all that horseshit. When it's done, we'll tell you. So for now, just find Brillobs Squad as a group on Facebook, and that's where this game shall be played.
You could find us on all the social media, at Listen Brilliant. Hashtag us with #ListenBrilliant, because we'd love to, if you're out, which you shouldn't be, but if you're out and masked, which you should be, and you see just crazy shit or things you think we'll enjoy, or God help me, if you see potty art, oh my God, please, it's my favorite. Hashtag that to Listen Brilliant. I would love to see that. You could also write us brilliantobservations@gmail.com and tell us everything. Tell us your deepest, darkest thoughts and what you would tell your 15-year-old self.
And if you're so inclined, you can visit us on our Patreon page. Leave a tip in the tip jar. Any amount one time works fine. Just search Patreon, Patreon Brilliant Observations Podcast. And if you'd like to buy your own swag because you want to control it yourself, you can go to TeePublic, search Brilliant Observations Podcast. You'll find a delightful assortment that changes daily.
Does that mean they don't have to dance with our contest to get swag?
No,
They can
because
just get it on their
if
own?
you dance with the contest, then you can get it based on your skill level and not on your cash. So if
Yeah,
you're,
you should be more proud of that.
Yeah, you can earn
got
it.
you.
You can earn it.
We're grateful for you. Thank you for showing up and listening. I'll tell you what the Peloton instructor told me this morning. You are better than your best excuse. And today you listened, and I don't know why you'd make an excuse not
That's
to,
right.
but
and the final closing words of your Peloton instructor: "Fuck that bitch." So that's the way that you're going to think about it. Your mom can step off. Perfect.
live, learn, and love well. Yeah, that's her.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Foul-mouthed people make the best friends. All the research shows.